which we found very draconian. Remember, it was amending a law which had already been invalidated in some parts by another petition by Andrew Karamaji. So it brought more draconian punishments, including offenses, like, for instance, the sharing of what they called unsolicited information, that if I receive information without asking for it, even if it's on WhatsApp, made it a criminal offense. They created an offense called sharing malicious information, and we are arguing what is malicious information, who defines it. So it was our argument that we thought the law was draconian. We thought that it offended the Constitution in as far as the Constitution protects the right of freedom, speech, press, and freedom of speech and the press. We also, another limb of the argument on which court based on most was that we thought Parliament passed that law without quorum, the requisite quorum. So court has agreed with us. In fact, on one stand alone, it didn't even find reason to delve into the other issues. It said that indeed there was evidence that the Speaker, in passing the bill, did not ascertain that Parliament had a requisite quorum as required by the rules of procedure and by the Constitution, and thus declared the entire law null and void, the amendment as passed by Parliament and assented to by the President in October 2022.
All right. Now, musisi, remember we already have some of those who are already behind bars in regard to this particular law. So what's the effect?
For those who are on remand, like lawyer Malema Birizi and a number of other people, TikTokers have been charged another law. Those who are not yet convicted, it means that the charges have to be dropped, because once a court declares a law unconstitutional, once the court declares the law null, it means that the charges lose the legal legs on which they are standing, so they are not premised on any law as it is now. That means they should be released or held on any other lawful charge. However, for those who served sentences, you know, a number of TikTokers, we had a gentleman called Madubara convicted by the Entebbe Magistrates Court. He served his 1 year in prison. Those who are either serving convictions or who have finished their sentences, those ones, nothing can happen to them.
Of course, the law doesn't work retrospectively.
Yeah. So that means that it can only work from today going forward.
All right. But generally speaking, the law and the faith in which it could have been brought was an issue of contention. But let's talk about the actualization of use, online use, when you talk about issues of hate speech and trolling, and just how to be able to regulate the use of the internet. How best do you think we can be able to go about that? Is it an aspect of law, or is it just an aspect of mindset change?
It's also an aspect of law, and yes, we agree that indeed there are people who misuse. Just like freedom of speech and media, it's not absolute. It has exceptions. It has limitations. The argument is that those limitations should not be the limitations set in North Korea, but limitations which are allowable in a free, fair, and democratic country. Okay. So, for instance, if I feel insulted by someone on social media, some of the remedies include suing that person, or in a civil court where I can get remedies like damages. However, there can be other policy issues that can be brought, and we tried even to put comparative ideas to the court of how it's regulated. Mindful, Mildred, that the regulation of social media is still grappling. It's something the whole world is still grappling with, even bigger democracies. So it's a balancing act between how do you manage a fair society, how do you manage a democratic society, but by not bringing draconian issues which instead just stifle the free expression. Even if you look at some of the people who have been charged under this law, most of them are either political activists or civil rights activists, or people who are in the course of what you'd ordinarily call protected free speech, not people who are indeed misusing social media.